World War I, the Great War, was the first conflict where technology played a decisive role, changing not just the way wars were fought, but also the outcome. This was a time when the world was on the brink of a technological revolution, and the battlefield was no different. Innovations in engineering, chemistry, and manufacturing were rapidly translating into new weapons of war, altering the face of conflict in ways that were previously unimaginable. Machine guns, for instance, brought a new level of intensity to the front lines. With the ability to fire hundreds of rounds per minute, they turned the once slow-paced, strategic warfare into a deadly game of endurance and attrition. Then there were the tanks, these hulking beasts of metal that could traverse the harshest terrains and break through enemy lines. They were a response to the stalemate of trench warfare, providing a much-needed offensive edge. The skies, too, were no longer the domain of birds alone. Airplanes, still a novelty at the start of the war, soon became vital tools for reconnaissance and eventually aerial combat. They gave commanders a bird's-eye view of the battlefield, changing the scope and scale of warfare. And let's not forget the sinister innovation of chemical weapons. The use of poisonous gas, a grim testament to the dark side of technological advancement, introduced a new, terrifying dimension to the conflict. These technologies dictated new strategies and tactics. Warfare was no longer just about manpower and bravery. It was about innovation, about who could adapt better and faster to this new era of mechanized combat. Each of these technologies had a profound impact on the war, shaping its course and ultimately its outcome. And while both sides had their share of technological advancements, it was the Allies who ultimately had the upper hand. As the war progressed, it became evident that the Allies had a technological edge over the Central Powers. The Allies, composed of nations such as Britain, France, and later the United States, had access to an array of advanced technology that eventually tipped the balance of the war in their favor. One critical advantage was superior artillery. The Allies were able to develop and deploy heavy-caliber artillery pieces, like the French 75mm gun, which was renowned for its rapid rate of fire and accuracy. This artillery superiority gave the Allies a distinct edge on the battlefield, pulverizing enemy lines and fortifications, and paving the way for infantry assaults. On the other hand, the Central Powers, including Germany and Austria-Hungary, did have some formidable artillery pieces. However, they often fell short in terms of quantity and in some cases quality. They simply couldn't compete with the industrial production capabilities of the Allies, which churned out artillery in staggering quantities. Furthermore, the Allies had a significant edge in terms of aircraft technology. By the end of the war, they had developed advanced fighter planes like the Sopwith Camel and the Spad 30T. These aircraft, armed with synchronized machine guns, dominated the skies, providing critical reconnaissance information and engaging in deadly dogfights with enemy aircraft. The Central Powers, while not completely outmatched in the air, struggled to keep pace with the rapid advancements in aircraft technology. They had some success with aircraft like the Fokker Doctor I, made famous by the Red Baron, but the sheer numbers and technical superiority of Allied aircraft proved too much. These technological disparities played a significant role in the outcome of the war. The Allies' advanced artillery and aircraft, combined with their superior industrial capabilities, allowed them to gradually wear down the Central Powers, both on the ground and in the air. With their superior technology, the Allies were able to turn the tide of the war in their favor. To truly understand the Allies' technological advantage, we need to delve into some of the key technological advancements of the time. First up, let's examine the tank. A beast of a machine, the tank was a novel invention during World War I. Its impervious steel shell and powerful guns provided the Allies with a massive advantage on the battlefield. Not just a monstrous offensive weapon, the tank also served as a psychological tool, instilling fear in the hearts of enemy soldiers. It was an unstoppable force that could traverse any terrain, crush barbed wire, and withstand enemy fire. Next, we have the airplane. Yes, the Wright brothers had only made their first flight a mere 11 years before the onset of the war. But by the time World War I began, airplanes had evolved from fragile contraptions into formidable machines of war. The Allies employed these flying machines for reconnaissance, dropping bombs, and engaging in dogfights with enemy aircraft. The advent of aerial warfare provided a whole new dimension to the battlefield, forever changing the way wars were fought. And then there was the machine gun. This was not a new invention per se, but its use in World War I was unprecedented. The machine gun was a game changer, allowing soldiers to unleash a hailstorm of bullets with a single pull of the trigger. It redefined the concept of firepower and significantly tipped the scale in favor of the Allies. Lastly, it's worth mentioning the advancements in communication technology. Radios and telephones were used extensively, allowing for quicker and more efficient relaying of information. This was crucial in coordinating attacks and making strategic decisions on the battlefield. These technological advancements not only changed the course of World War I, but they also set the stage for the future of warfare. But what if the technological landscape had been different? What if the Central Powers had been the ones with the superior technology? Let's delve into this hypothetical scenario to see just how differently history might have unfolded. Imagine a world where the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria, had been the pioneers of technological advancements during World War I. What if they had developed the tank before the Allies, using it to break through the stagnant trenches of the Western Front? Imagine the impact of their artillery being more accurate, their submarines more sophisticated, and their aircraft more advanced. The trench warfare that characterized much of the conflict might have been decisively broken earlier, potentially leading to a quicker resolution of the war. The Central Powers could have pushed through enemy lines, creating a ripple effect of victories that might have changed the entire course of the war. And consider the strategic implications. If the Central Powers had superior technology, they may have been able to better defend their territories and resources, perhaps avoiding the crippling blockades that led to widespread famine and discontent at home. This could have boosted morale and sustained their war efforts for a longer period. Moreover, the geopolitical landscape might have been drastically different. Countries that emerged victorious in our timeline might have been on the losing end, altering their socio-political trajectories. The map of Europe, and indeed the world, could have been redrawn in ways we can barely fathom. But it's not just about the war. The technological innovations of World War I had far-reaching implications beyond the battlefield. They transformed civilian life, shaping the 20th century and beyond. Had the Central Powers been the technological leaders, their innovations could have set the stage for a different modern world. It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? How different might the world be today if the technological balance in World War I had tipped in favor of the Central Powers? So while we can't change history, we can certainly learn from it, pondering the what-ifs and the might-have-beens.